What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Battle for Azeroth video. Today we're going to be talking about, in my opinion, the power rankings for allied races and where they stand in terms of which ones you should maybe be playing in Battle for Azeroth. Should you be going Alliance or Horde? And that's, kind of what this video is going to be the main topic about, because I feel like there's a lot of people asking, should I be going Alliance for Battle for Azeroth? Should I be going Horde for Battle for Azeroth? And overall, just like I want to voice my opinion because I think that the PvP community will be a lot more diversified from the late comings of Legion, and then also for next expansion. Legion had a lot of diversification in PvP because of the difference in the gladiator titles and the difference of opinion or better comps with human racials as opposed to better comps with blood elf racials. Like, I know as an arcane mage playing Windwalker Arcane Mage, it's better to be a blood elf, but if you're playing like RMP, or if you're playing like even more of like Windwalker DK, it's actually better to be human so that you would have those human racials to get out of stuns more effectively, right? So just kind of want to like kick it off. I'm going to be going from descending to ascending order, and like the number 4 weakest out of all of the allied races that have been released so far is actually going to be the Knightborn, which is number 4. So Knightborn has really kind of missed the mark in terms of where their racials are at, and I think that with a little bit more thought about the pulse that comes with, being a Nightborn, having that 8 yard or whatever it is, 8 or 10 yard range, and having that big AoE. Like, the problem is that the damage of this ability is just extremely low, and I think that since it is so low and it's really just based upon being a 50% slow, I just can't foresee it being really a game changer or something that is like very relevant whenever you're playing this race. Because when you're playing like a human or a blood elf or a void elf, or even like the other allied races that are coming out, like having those racials are actually super relevant towards your playstyle. And with that being said, I think it's really important to note that Nightborn just really didn't quite get there. Maybe if their damage was changed into like a dot, or had more damage in general, I think that it's possible for it to be a little bit more strong. But since the ratios are just kind of falling behind, I don't really foresee it being too crazy right now. But maybe that'll change in the future. Maybe it will get a buff. I've never really seen ratios be buffed or nerfed in mid-expansion, but it's very possible. And I definitely look forward to that if it does happen, because I see like the value in Nightborn. I see that this big AoE ability, like, it has its possibilities, because you can, for some reason, like if your healer gets sapped next to you, you can use the Nightborn racial and hit him out of stealth, and that might be useful that way. But outside of that, I really just don't see a whole lot of value from this ability, and that's why I'm ranking it at the weakest out of all of the allied races. And number 3 is going to be Lightforged Draenei. So Lightforged Draenei is an interesting one because they offer actually a pretty sizable amount of damage whenever you use your Light's Judgment. If you were to Light's Judgment a stunned target or a rooted target or whatever, you're going to have a little bit of extra burst to be able to do that into an enemy target. But since, this damage is probably going, like in Battle for Azeroth, it's probably going to be pretty heavily nerfed with the stat templates and rated PvP. It's just kind of not super crazy, but it is nice to have a little bit of extra burst. It's just that, like, when one of the racials, 1 out of 2 of the most important racials are only available to you when you die, it just is not a huge deal. Like, you can't really use something that involves death, because in arena, when you die, you lose the game. And with Light's Judgment, since it's probably going to be more nerfed in rated PvP, I can't really rank it as like the number 1 or number 2 spots, because it just probably won't do that much damage, to be honest. It won't do a whole lot, but it'll be doing enough to like give you a little bit of extra stuff on a stun target or whatever, or a rooted target. And that's why I rank it as number 3. And moving on to number 2, we have the High Mountain Toran. So the High Mountain Toran is a very interesting one. I think that it's actually very strong for a lot of the melee classes. If you are playing melee, if you're playing ranged, I don't know if it's really as strong, since it's like a bull rush. It takes you to the target. But the bull rush is really interesting because it actually is a gap closer. It works as a gap closer. It also works as an AoE knockdown stun, and also the stun is pretty good. Like, having that 1.5 second knockdown stun is a really, really cool thing. And since it's on a pretty short cooldown, I think that the bull rush is actually a very interesting one, and that's why I rank High Mountain Toran as number 2. because High Mountain Toran, not only they're more tanky passively due to their 2 racials that increase versatility and reduce damage taken, but they also have that gap closer, and also like with warriors, for example, or a death knight. Like having an extra gap closer as a death knight. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. High Mountain Toran can't be death knights. That's my bad. Cut that out. Go cut that out, editor. But yeah, that's really it's really good for a lot of those classes to have an extra gap closer, and that's why I rank it as number 2. And moving on from that, I want to talk about the number 1 allied race in my books, which is very interesting, and that's going to be the Void Elf. Okay, so the Void Elf hype train is huge right now. Everyone seems to be talking about Void Elf. I even swapped my ally mage to Void Elf, and I've been having a whole lot of fun with it. You know, having the spatial rift available to me where I can actually I can use the teleport so far away, similar to how I have with Arcane Mage, and I can also do it through line of sight. It's a really amazing ability to be able to have spatial rift, and the fact that I can actually use it while like out of line of sight from where the spatial rift is, it honestly just gives you such a huge advantage mobility wise, and I think that it's just a really impressive ability, and that in combination with the pre-natural calm passive that gives you 5% extra damage and healing every now and then for 12 seconds. Or sorry, not Preternatural Calm, Entropic Embrace, that's the name of it. Sorry, I got mixed up. The Entropic Embrace is actually like super useful. 5% extra damage is a lot, and I think that having that on the regular just for being a Void Elf is very valuable. So pretty much like having Spatial Rift and having that extra mobility, whether that's defensive or you want to make an offensive play but need to get in the right position, or you can use Spatial Rift as just like some way of getting away from your targets, or going through a pillar and being completely out of line of sight after being in trouble, and like dodging some offensive cooldowns. I think that it's just overall a really strong race, and it's probably the one that I'm going to be playing if I choose to play Alliance next expansion. I haven't quite made my decision. I'm still keeping it a little bit open, but right now I'm really impressed by the Void Elf, and I think that it has a lot of capabilities. And if you guys haven't checked out my Void Elf video, I actually laid down all of the tricks and like went a little bit in depth with how you can play Void Elf, how you can use Spatial Rift, and getting a little bit more tricky and a little bit more fun with the race, and you know, seeing if like where the limits are with Spatial Rift. But regardless, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, this is something that is very controversial right now. A lot of people want to know what they're going to be playing next expansion. And once the Zandalari Trolls and the Dark Iron Dwarves and, you know, maybe the Volpera or the Draenor Orcs, when they come out, or whatever allied race it is, like I'm going to be talking about those as well. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, keep up to date, and be a part of the community we have going on here. Be sure to leave a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below if you disagree or agree with my power rankings. Like, I want to know what you have to say, so just leave it down a comment below. Tell me all your opinions, and I do read through all these comments, and I do reply to a lot of them. But that does sum it up for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good one.